Hi girlies, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Alicia Gogan, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any videos, and even the bell notification if you really want, so you can get notified when I post a video. Today's video is really important, I think, for everyone on a journey to step more into their feminine energy. Because if you're somebody who is on a journey of stepping into your femininity, most likely you have not been living in it and you've been living more in your masculine energy. And I think that if I did not do this type of work that I'm gonna be talking about in the video, I wouldn't be able to step into my feminine energy the way that I'm doing now, the way that I'm living the soft life now and continuing to move forward. I had to do this groundwork in order for me to get to this stage. So if you're a woman right now who is struggling to step out of her masculine energy and you're not feeling safe and you don't know, it's not even that you don't know how, but it's like really hard for you to do that, then this video is going to be for you. So let's first talk about what feminine energy is really quickly. I've already made videos about this, so I'll have the little links up above so you can kind of go into a little deep dive if you want. But feminine energy is all about receptivity. So it's about receiving, it's about trusting, it's about listening to your intuition, it's about sitting back and relaxing and feeling calm, and you're very much so in your rest and digest state in terms of your nervous system. So everything is like the expression of the soft life, the feminine flow, just moving through life and trusting that everything is exactly where it needs to be. So that's all fine and dandy and beautiful, but the problem that a lot of us have is like, okay, I can't let myself be in that energy state because I feel so terrified. I don't trust, I can't get in touch with my intuition. I don't believe that I can receive without overproducing and overworking, things like that, right? And the truth is we're in these states because we have a lot of unresolved childhood traumas. And the reason why I say this, and this is not going to be a blanket statement, you might have other things in your life as to why it's hard for you to do that. Maybe you just naturally want to be more in your masculine energy. I'm talking to woman in my woman-female perspective right now, but we have energies in both of us. And again, I'm also, disclaimer, like not a therapist, and like definitely consult with your therapist, and I will talk about all that in the video. But in general, the reason most likely a lot of us women have trouble stepping into that feminine energy is because we have been conditioned from a very young age to be in this masculine energy, and usually that is a result of trauma. Now, trauma does not need to be like you are being physically abused or that like you had some crazy traumatic experience in your life. Everyone experiences trauma in their own way, especially when you're younger. And basically, I learned this from Teal Swan, trauma is just unresolved distress. So basically, something in your life created some type of distress in your life, a person, a parent, something that changed without you understanding, and there was no resolution. So there wasn't somebody there when you were younger to explain the situation. So let's take, for example, my father. He was very strict and he was a tyrant. I've talked about this a lot before, and he didn't really allow me to like cry and express my full like childlike emotions and things like that. And so I was conditioned from a very young age that it was wrong to do so. And the thing is, I didn't really have a parent coming in constantly and being like, hey, this has nothing to do with you. You are not inherently bad because you have these emotions that you want to express. There's a parent in your life right now who does not know how to handle your emotions. It has nothing to do with you, this, that, and the third. There is no person coming in and really making me understand. Even if there was, it's really hard for somebody to help a child understand that because you don't understand that like when you're young. So even if you did have that parent, and I did, for the most part, I did have my mom when I was young, and she kind of balanced out that masculine wounded energy, but I still went through a bunch of traumas because I wasn't able to conceptualize and understand what it meant to be suppressed, to be closed off, to be pushed away from somebody who I was trying to get close with in my childhood. And so it's really important for you to understand the types of traumas, the ways in which you were brought up in your childhood, because those are the things that are going and have created your current state of being now. And a lot of it is you being in that fight or flight mode. When you don't feel safe in childhood for whatever reason, like maybe you're being emotionally neglected, maybe you're being yelled at, maybe you're being criticized, whatever the case is, whatever your story is, it's going to make you close up. It's going to make you and your body, because your body is so smart, step into survival mode, and you're going to make sure that you are safe as much as you can at all times. And when you do that, like I just said, you're gonna be in that fight or flight mode. And when you're in fight or flight mode, not only can that be detrimental through the long term in terms of your physical body, but your mind is in constant survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you're really in that more masculine energy. And like when you're trying to survive, you're not worrying about chilling and relaxing and receiving and trusting and listening to your intuition. The thing that you are prepped and primed to do at all times is, how do I survive? That is like your body's main goal. And so even the slightest types of little traumas over time will create this fight or flight response. And then you get stuck in it, and then you live life from the lens of survival. And so I think it's really important that you go back, whether that be with a therapist or like just yourself, things like that. Again, we're gonna talk about that later in this video, and understand that most likely if you're really struggling to step into that feminine energy and you have that desire, like you know you want to, but you can't seem to get there, there's some things in your life that you're gonna need to work through, these traumas, work through a little bit so that you're able to open up and to receive and to step into that divine feminine energy. And so the first thing that I think is really important, once you've kind of take some inventory of, you know, the things or the people or the places, the situations in your childhood that most likely created this guard on you, this independent girl. I need to make sure that I make everything happen for myself, and I have to work super hard, and all of these things that are so masculine. I think the first thing that you need to do is to acknowledge and send yourself love and compassion, because the thing is what we do is, once we realize that we have been operating in fight or flight, sometimes we get mad at ourselves. Sometimes we think, why can't I just be feminine? Like, why do I have to be so emotional and always act for my traumas and just be triggered all the time? Like, we get frustrated with ourselves, you know? Why can't I step into this thing? Why can't I just receive this thing? I know if I change my mindset, then I'll be able to receive all the things that I want. Why can't I do that? I want you to send yourself love and compassion, because at the end of the day, your body, your subconscious, your inner child is so smart, and it's just always been operating out of state or survival. You are just primed to survive. And I think that is actually such a beautiful acknowledgement that we can give to our own selves, our young little selves, when we were so young, and we adapted so quickly, and we learned to do whatever we needed to do to be safe and to live. And I think it's just, again, it's important to just send love and compassion to yourself and not hate yourself, because this is where self-hate comes in, right? We see that we're doing these things and it's not yielding in the results what we want. Let's say living the soft life and being feminine and all of this, you know, this woman that we know that we want to be. And then we turn on ourselves and be like, why are you like this? And I don't think that that's helpful, and I think that it only then perpetuates the state of fight or flight within yourself, and you're just signaling to your inner child that it's wrong, and it's not wrong. It's just that's what it learned what to do from a very young age, which brought you into the state of being that you're in right now in your life. So after acknowledging and giving yourself some grace and just understanding that you have been operating from this place of, you know, fight or flight, scared, trauma, whatever your story is, I think it's important to work with your wounded inner child. The inner child that feels as if it's not worthy and it can't, and it's too afraid to step into this beautiful, divine, feminine woman that you deep down desire to be. And the way that I did this on my journey was I did parts work. Now, parts work is basically the same as shadow work or inner child work. They're all kind of the same thing. You're getting in touch with your deepest parts that feel so afraid, that have these limiting beliefs, that thinks that she's not worthy, that thinks that she can't receive, all of the little beliefs in which that you have been ingrained within. Those are the parts that you want to talk to. You want to understand where they came from. You want to acknowledge them, like I kind of told you to acknowledge yourself just from the get-go. And by also doing parts work, you're going to start to understand what these specific parts of you, the ones that hold these beliefs that I can't go into the world and I can't open up and I'm not deserving of love or money or all of these things, whatever they are feeling, you're gonna be able to understand what it is that they actually need in order for it to feel like it is worthy of love and affection and attention and all of these things. So I'm gonna just quickly touch on parts work. Parts work is basically, like I said, you're getting in touch with different parts within you. We are split in a million different ways. We have all different parts operating within us. A lot of them are very subconscious. So even the things that you think of in your head or the person that you think that you are, we have so many other parts within us that operate and that are the ones that drive us to self-sabotaging behaviors and things like that. If you want me to go into a whole nother video about that, I totally can. Comment down below, but you can also just Google it, or you can go on my TikTok. I have examples of what parts work is and how to do it. So go to my TikTok, I'll have it linked in the description as well. But again, you can do parts work with a therapist, you can do it on your own. You can again go on YouTube and just get guided little videos on how to do it. But again, basically you're just opening up the channel of the parts of you that are keeping you stuck in this masculine energy or whatever type of energy or mind state that you're in. Because you have a part of you that really wants to be this divine feminine woman, but then you have this other part of you that's so wounded, that's so scared, that's like, no. What's more important than us stepping into our divine feminine is for us to stay alive. And the thing is, this part of you is still young. It's stuck in this fight or flight from a very young age, conditioned from one specific person or circumstance, and still holds this energy frequency within you. And you bring this with you all into your adult life. And the thing is like, we want to go one way, but this part of us is bringing us back down. And this part is going to be very heavy. And this is going to be the one that's going to be the hardest energy for us, because it cares most about your survival. And so in order for this part to see that, hey, over here is beautiful and we deserve it and all these things, you can't just as yourself take this part and drag it with you and let's go and be feminine. No, you have to turn to this part of you and understand it and nurture it and understand what it truly needs for it to flourish. You know, this is a part of you that's probably from childhood that is very much so conditioned in so many different beliefs, and you have been ignoring it this whole time. And it's not your fault because you didn't know. But I think it's really important to do parts work so you can see, do inner child work, do all of this work. It's basically all the same stuff, so that you can nurture this part of you to bring it on the journey of improvement in divine feminine, because that's really what it is. It's this whole journey of life is to really create wholeness, integration within yourself, so that you can get to where you're meant to go. Because if you have this desire to be feminine and live this soft life and whatever type of life that you want to live, you have the desire, you deserve that desire. But the problem is you have parts within you that are like, no, we don't see the benefit. I can't see the benefit right now, because what I care about right now is surviving. But you don't need to survive. Like, you're safe. You are safe. The universe has you. And the problem is you are not connected to this part of you. So I think the biggest thing that I did in order for me to live the life that I'm living now and to continue moving forward is to constantly have conversations with my inner child, with the parts of me that do not see it the way that I see it, the way that my higher self sees it. And I also created a inner child discovery journal prompt and also an abundance mindset journal prompt, which will also link down below. It's digital, or you can print it out, and I think it could definitely help you in terms of getting in touch with more of these parts within you. And also, like I said, going to therapy first and foremost if you absolutely can, but also going on my TikTok and seeing how I give you examples of parts work so you can understand a little bit more. But just realizing that there's parts within you that are making you stay in this fight or flight, and the fight or flight most likely is going to manifest in ways, in habits and routines in your life as that masculine dominant energy, but wounded masculine energy. And if you want to understand masculine energy more, I will have a little pop-up on the screen. Another thing that I think is really important is for you to start to see and understand and take inventory of the things that you're doing in your day-to-day life that are actually coming from that trauma response. So you're doing things based out of fight or flight, of survival. And I know it can be very difficult, but it will help you when you do parts work and you start to kind of do some more like discovery about why you think the way that you think and how you respond and operate in your life. So I'll give you a few examples. Let's say in childhood, you just didn't have a lot of money growing up, like in childhood and like all throughout your life, like you just didn't have enough, like a lot of money growing up. And you might think, well, like how is this a trauma? Well, technically it is, because literally it creates a state of you being in fight or flight. And that's not to like, you don't have to label things as trauma, but I'm just like bringing it back to the topic of this video. But because you are operating from scarcity, right? That energy of you're never gonna have enough, you're afraid of when or how are you going to make money in order to live and survive. So what you end up doing in an unhealthy way is you get into relationships where you know the guy can be supportive, like, and he has money, but on every other front, like he is emotionally abusive, physically abusive, all of these things. But you're operating from this need of feeling safe. So you end up, because you're kind of even unaware of it, you end up going for the quickest and the fastest thing that you think that will help you feel safe, which is getting into a relationship where on the surface the guy looks like he can support you, but then when you're in that relationship it's very, very unsafe, because you're operating mainly just off of that fight or flight is survival. And so what are actions that you can take in your own life to make your inner child feel safe outside of somebody else doing it for you? And that's not to say that you can't look for a man to support you or a family to support you, but what are some things that you can create in a healthier way, an alternative way that is going to help make your inner child feel safe, but also not at the end of the day get you into a toxic relationship or situation that is not going to be helpful down the line. So again, it's really important to kind of question like the relationships that you've been pursuing, or the men that you've been pursuing, or the friendships that you have been pursuing, or the things that you do in your free time. Why are you doing these things? Like, are you only pursuing something for an end goal? That's okay if you are, but the thing is like, are you doing it in the most healthy way possible? Do you understand where you're operating from every single time that you go and do an action? And again, that's not to analyze every single thing that you do in your life, but if there's things in your life that are not working out and you're still miserable and unhappy, and there's this version of you that you want to step into, then you need to take an inventory of the actions and the things that you're doing in your life. Are you operating from your wounded inner child? And if you are, let's do some parts work and let's understand what it really needs to feel safe. And what usually ends up happening is that feeling of safety when it comes to money, that's really just we want to be safe in general. Like maybe in your childhood you never felt safe around your father, you never felt safe around anything. Like maybe it's not actually that tangible, a bunch of money, you need to have all this luxury lifestyle to make you feel safe. What you really need is just to feel safe within yourself and to understand like, I was unsafe around this man in my life when I was younger, but I am no longer around him anymore, and there's so many places and things and people in my life right now that actually make me feel safe, but I'm just so laser focused on the things that are making me unsafe. And when it comes to the abundance mindset and like scarcity and like fears around money and just like safety, because it's really important, especially for us as women, to create a healthier relationship with the masculine, which is, in my opinion, manifested as money and men as well. Definitely check out the abundance mindset journal prompt that I created. It really helped me work through some of my fears and work with my parts of myself that were just searching for safety in everywhere in my life. And I was doing things that were just based out of fight or flight survival. Another thing that I think is really important to help you step out of this masculine energy is to, like I've been mentioning, go to therapy. But in particular, if you're somebody who has been through a lot of trauma and you've been doing a lot of mindset work, or maybe you have been going to therapy and things like that, trying a somatic therapist. A somatic therapist works more deeply with the nervous system and bringing your attention to your body. Your body has so much innate wisdom, but not only does it have a lot of innate wisdom, it also holds a lot of trauma that you might not be aware of. And once you learn how to tap into what your body is feeling, you can make better decisions for yourself, because like I said, your body holds a lot of wisdom. You might tell yourself that you're comfortable in a situation, but your body and your nervous system is saying absolutely not. Or the reverse. You might tell yourself all of these stories about how unsafe you are, but your nervous system is actually very calm. And so learning how to get more in touch with your body, I mean, that's a divine feminine thing to even do that, and to feel embodied and to go through life and being more in connection with your intuition. But the thing is, when you're in fight or flight, you're all in your head. You're trying to map out the most safe way, exit, whatever plan of execution that you can do so that you will survive. And when you're doing that, you are not listening to your body. your energy is not even working so that your body can function properly, let alone for you to listen to your body's innate wisdom. So I think it's really important to work with a somatic therapist. I've been working with a somatic therapist for a while now, and I'm still working, and I think that it's transformed my life. If you don't have money to do that, you can be going on YouTube, you can be watching videos like mine and other people in this field in terms of teaching you and understanding what feminine energy is really all about. That can help you as well. Also, another thing to get more in touch with your body and learn how to just calm your nervous system when you're in that fight or flight and you're getting triggered all the time is to literally bring your attention back to your body. So of course, like I said, you can be doing that with a somatic therapist, but I can do this on a day-to-day, wherever really. Let's say you're working, you're at work and you're really stressed and you're triggered by something. Bringing your hand, one hand on your heart, one hand on your stomach, and just taking a few deep breaths and bringing your attention back to your body, okay? That automatically brings your nervous system just a little bit out of that fight or flight, which you might be getting in the fight or flight because stories in your head and all of these things going around you. Doing guided meditations before you go to sleep is really helpful. It's really helped me when I was in this chronic state of fight or flight to the point where I was feeling physical symptoms of hand pain. Listening to people like me or podcasts that just bring your nervous system back into alignment, going out in nature, all of these little things throughout your day are going to help support you, are going to also signal to your inner child like, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to support you, I want to make you feel safe, you are safe. These are so important, and doing this is what helps nurture yourself to be able to flourish into your feminine divine energy. Another thing that I want to touch on is the fact that you, depending on your age and where you're living and who you're around, you might be around people where it's really hard for you to step into that feminine energy. And it's really apparent when we talk about relationships in which you're with a man who is not fully expressed and embodied in his masculine energy to the point where you do not feel safe. So you're the one that's now feeling like you have to provide, you're the one that feels like you have to lead and that you have to make yourself feel safe in all aspects of that relationship. And when you do that, like when the feminine doesn't feel safe, she automatically moves into her masculine energy. Like there's no other way. It's survival. Like we have to survive. Somebody's got to pay the bills, you know? Somebody's got to make sure that we're safe and everything is done. And so when you're around people that make it difficult for you to be in your feminine energy, like no wonder you're in your masculine. So it's taking inventory of the relationships that you're in, or maybe the family that you're around, or the friends that you're around. Are these people making it difficult for you to step into that feminine energy? And if you're on this journey of wanting to move into your divine feminine energy, then you need to make some decisions and potential boundaries when it comes to this. Now, of course, it's gonna really depend on your situation. If you live with family that makes it really difficult for you to step into your feminine energy, then what can you do? What can you do to be able to step into your feminine energy? So whether that be you're going to close your door, now your room is going to be your sanctuary where you're going to be doing all these different practices and you're going to be able to dance and let yourself move and just allow yourself to feel safe in your space. And maybe when you go out of your room, you're going to be, you're going to have to kind of step more into your masculine energy, but you're going to know that you have a safe space to go to step more into your divine feminine. Or maybe you're going to bring yourself out of the environment so that you can feel more expressed. You can go out to nature, things like that. Maybe if you're in a relationship, you're going to be having some talks. Maybe you're going to be realizing like, hey, you know what? This is not in alignment with where I'm trying to go. And I think it's really important that you understand that there's going to be a lot of people and polarities in your life where it's going to fortunately push you into your masculine energy. And that's not to say that's not a bad thing. I mean, I think a lot of us, when we go to work, we are naturally pushed into our masculine energy, but are you even at a job where maybe to the point where you're so much in your masculine energy that it's affecting your health, your mindset, your mood, your everything? What are some things that you can be doing that is going to allow you to step more into that feminine energy? I did a whole video on working smarter, not harder, so that will be up here if you want to watch that as well. But it's really starting to just look at your life. Look at the people that you're around. Look at the way in which you're operating and realizing that most likely it's from these wounded places, and that's okay. And to not try and drag yourself when you are not ready into this feminine energy and get pissed off at yourself when you are not embodying this feminine divine energy that you in your head have this vision for yourself and hold for yourself, you will get there. And I'm telling you, you'll get there because I'm already stepping into her and I'm embodying her. But if I did not do this inner child parts work, shadow work, really getting in touch with parts of me that are so afraid to step into this feminine energy, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So if you are really struggling, and if you're not understanding when you see these girls on TikTok or YouTube and they're teaching you about feminine energy and you're just having so much resistance and you can't do it, well, maybe it's time to go a little bit deeper first. There's no rush, there's no race, there's no nothing. You are going to step into her when it is time. But I think it's really important that you just acknowledge and you send love and compassion that to parts of you that are feeling afraid. And that's all that they are. They're just feeling afraid. They're like, a divine feminine energy? I don't know about all this. I do not know about all this. But really and truly, that is your God's gift. You are meant to be in that feminine energy, and I think that it's your turn to step into that. And stepping into that means doing this type of work that I've been talking about in this video. So I hope this video helped you see things in a different light. I hope this video is really a reminder of what I'm always talking about in a lot of my videos is don't abandon your inner child, your inner self, the parts of you that are like having so much resistance to the things that you want in your life. If you desire something in your life and you are constantly like questioning why I cannot get there, why can I not just do and be the woman that I want to be, then you need to take an inventory and a look at what's residing within you. And a lot of these parts are residing so subconsciously that you are so unaware of. And that's why it's good to do these parts work practices or do things with your therapist, or just, again, just try and find ways in which that you can connect deeper to all parts of you, because you have so many parts within you. We split in so many different ways all throughout life. And yes, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I've been going on kind of a tangent. I hope again that it resonated with you, and let me know in the comments what you want to hear, anything that I touched on in this video if you want me to go into deeper. Again, I am not a therapist. I am not I'm not saying that you're operating from trauma in all aspects of your life, but it's really important for you to take an inventory and look at, where you came from and who conditioned you potentially to be in this state of fight or flight. And yeah, without further ado, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.